The views expressed on this episode of the Came to Believe Recovery podcast do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Recovery Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this episode should not be taken as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guests. KHLT and Take 12 Recovery Radio are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship. Well, greetings, my friends. I am the Monty Man from Take 12 Recovery Radio, and this is the Came to Believe Recovery Podcast. And now, here are your Came to Believe Recovery podcasting broadcasters to launch us forth on this week's show. Well, greetings one and all, and welcome to another fine episode of the Came to Believe Recovery Podcast. I am the Monty Man, your host, and with me, of course, is the CEO of Came to Believe Recovery, Mr. Tom Williams, who's going to probably get it right again. What was the intro sound bite there, buddy?
Oh, that was the Munsters.
The Munsters. Now, here, I'm going to make it a little harder for you. Can you name the members of the family?
It was, there was, all right, so it was Fred, right?
Well, that was his real name.
He was Herman Munster, was Herman.
Yeah. Fred Quinn.
But Fred Quinn, that should get me points.
Yep.
It was, the wife was Morticia.
Nope. That's the other one. That's the Addams family.
The wife was
she was played by Yvonne De Carlo. Her name was Lily.
Lily, I was just about to say it. And then the son was the uncle was Uncle Fester. Fester.
Nope, that's Addams family again.
Gosh. Who was it?
Grandpa.
Oh, Grandpa, right. And then the son was Eddie.
Eddie, yep.
Yeah, Eddie Munster.
And the niece, remember the niece's name? She was the normal one.
Oh, right. Right.
Marilyn. Marilyn was
Marilyn.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember the name of the pet dragon that lived under the stairs? You never saw him. You only heard him.
Spot?
Spot. That's right. And they had a pet cat who was actually a lion. You never saw him either. Remember what it was named? Think about it. Kitty.
Right. Kitty. Oh.
Yeah. And then you had the Munster coach, the custom built automobile.
All right.
Yeah. So here's a little thing about Fred Quinn. He was the one of the main characters in the show Car 54, which was one of the early cops and robbers shows.
He also played an excellent character on My Cousin Vinny, the judge.
Oh, that's right.
And
he was also in Pet Sematary, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he had was going to have a resurgence in his career in parts like that, because he was kind of typecast back in those. That's the 60s, I think, and early 70s. Yeah. The Munsters, black and white. It was some of it
black and white.
And
I don't think it ever went color.
You know, I think for 20 or 30 years, I think he did some things. But that might have been a big issue, because that was a fantastic role that he died shortly after.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought he was great in that.
Yeah. There you go. All right. The topic this week is letting people be people. Oh, gee whiz. Do we have to?
I know.
But let's see if we have a mailbag. Yes, we do.
You've got mail.
There's
mail in the mailbag, so open it.
All right, it's time to open up the Came to Believe Recovery mailbag. If you'd like to send us your mail, topic suggestions, opinions, questions, please feel free to do so. The mail address is Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, at cametobelieverecovery.org. And by the way, June 19th through the 21st at the Sarah Center in Malibu, California, is the Came to Believe Recovery Retreat. There is still time for you to register for that.
There is.
Go to cametobelieverecovery.org and click on coming events to find out more information. If you want to, if you've been dragging your feet, or your sponsor's been dragging your feet, and you're like 3 months in and you're still on step one, you may want to consider coming to the Came to Believe Recovery Retreat and actually working and learning how to apply and implement the steps in just a couple of days, like the founders did back when the success rate was so high. All right. So a couple of mails. This comes from, I think it's probably Russia. We do have listeners in Russia and the UK, and all over the place, Dubai. So I can't pronounce the name, sorry, but there's a couple. One of them says Solid Recovery Talk. Thank you. Another one says Take 12 Radio delivered again. That was from Hostina 22, Shred 22. And then another one that I cannot pronounce says, how does discipline, because our topic last week was finding freedom in discipline, how does discipline fit into the 12 steps? What say you, Tom?
Well, I mean, it's the rule of life. It's living in the go. Discipline, our pathway to creating new habits and rhythms of life and routine that require us to be accountable and responsible.
Yeah.
Fits right into how we have to live now in our recovery.
There really is no discipline if you think doing the steps is just reading them on the wall every time you go to a meeting.
Right. I mean, a discipline is doing something. I remember I had that definition. I found that definition in the book, and it was close to what I said it was last week. Is you're hoping to be able to do something else that you can't do right now, or you're hoping to move your life to a different point, and it requires you to take some action that you can take that'll lead you to take action that you can't take right now, but you want to be able to take. And that's growing. I mean, if you want to grow. So, and it's a discipline because there's a commitment to saying, I have to have patience. I have to do A, B before I get to D, E, and F, because that's how it goes. I have to climb the ladder. Right. And so it fits totally into recovery. We teach you steps 1 through 9, at least it Came to Believe Recovery Founders Program, which give you tools that you then have to get good at. And getting good at it means you got to practice with them, you got to develop habits with them, you got to develop routines, and get good at using them, and then you get the results. And the results are ever increasing. The way you're building with the 12 tools the first week and the way you are after your first year won't be the same.
Yes.
As long as you're using them consistently.
Yeah.
So that's my answer.
Yeah.
What say you?
Good.
What say you?
Good. Well, yeah, again, to be a disciplined person means to literally, that's where we get the word disciple or student, right? Mm-hmm. We're students of the 12 steps. We're students of a lot of things. We're students of the gospel. We're students of, if you're taking a course in aviation. But imagine this. You go into ground school to take a course in aviation to get your pilot's license, and you listen to the teacher read from the aviator's manual, right? And you never do any of the things in the manual. You just read it. And then you go out and try to fly the plane.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anywhere, right? Can you imagine that? Why won't the plane take off? Or why can't I land it? Oh, no.
Right.
Right. So it requires, to be
I read about landing it, but I've never landed it.
I listened to it.
Right.
In fact, here's a sad truth. When I was in college, I had to take psychology was one of the required courses to get my degree in crisis counseling, right? I had to take psychology 3 times. You know why? Because I kept trying to pass the final by just sitting in the class listening to the teacher and not studying and not disciplining myself, being a student of. To be a student of something isn't just to listen to the instructor. It's to apply and implement what he's teaching.
Yeah. And there's a lot of times, a lot of material in college courses, especially that are not, they're meant you to learn it from reading and studying, not from the lecture.
Exactly.
So you're going to miss a third of everything you need to know.
Yeah.
By not doing all the parts of it. Yeah. You were real brain surgeon there, huh?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. If I talked your way, huh?
Yeah. Well, if I heard about the id one more time, I was going to throw up. And then the last one is, hey guys, my sponsee is incredibly stubborn and won't take direction well. Have you ever dealt with a stubborn sponsee? Terry W. Oh boy. I would say anybody that I've ever worked with at the very least in the beginning is very stubborn and thinks they know better. There's a guy right now that he hasn't asked me to sponsor him, but he's reached out to me, and I asked him. He said, I haven't drank in like 6 weeks. I said, congratulations, that's great. I said, how's the cannabis thing going? He goes, well, maybe someday. And he's like miserable, right? So he's just switching seats on the Titanic. That's all he's doing.
Yeah,
and he's stubborn about this. He's just, and I don't know that I can work with him. To tell you the truth, because he's living in an altered state of consciousness. I don't know if I can work with somebody like that. Now, somebody who's just stubborn and just kicking against the goads, so to speak, that's kind of natural, and you need to be patient with them and keep laying the tools, of the steps at their feet. And if they pick them up, they pick them up. If they don't, move on. That's kind of my philosophy. If somebody's not willing, if nothing changes, and they're not willing to really, look at that. It's kind of my word to that is next.
Right.
What about you, Tom?
Yeah, I have fired sponsees before, or if that's a way to do it, but you can. I have a message to give them. What I have is my experience. This is what I did. This is what the founders did, and I can help guide you through that.
Yeah.
But I do walk away at that point. I say, I had somebody call me once and said, I want to know the program and I want to do this. And I want you to come with me to meetings. I don't really want to talk about the God thing right now. And we can start working. He was telling me how he was going to do his program.
Oh.
And I said, well, then maybe I don't think we're a good match. Well, why not? Because I don't have any other. The way that I would sponsor you is take you through the steps, which is the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. If you're not ready for that, that's fine. But there's a million guys in the meeting rooms that'll just sit next to you at meetings and tell you what you want to hear. And let you whine and cry and walk you around and give you all the slack you want. Go find someone else. If you want to do the steps the way the founders did it and find freedom, then call me. And when someone has it, you're right, Mon, you have to have some grace. And we have to have some patience with people who, when we get to step 3, they're still kind of not on the fence about this God and the Christian God, the God of the Bible, but they're willing to release somewhere. I've had some friends and some people, especially some Christian people, who stop sponsoring them if they won't make a sinner's prayer, an adamant declaration of Jesus at step 3. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, are we the ones determining someone's heart? I would still, if they're at least willing to turn over, if they can say, yeah, I'll take on a new manager and he's a supernatural creative intelligence, but I don't know what his name is yet. That's fine. Actually, the program allows for that.
That's a good enough place to make a beginning, man.
To make a beginning. And then you get them through 7 and get them. Then we routinely, especially at retreats, will find them make a more clear definition of who their God is by Sunday.
Sure.
Because he's worked on them. So I have some flexibility for that. If someone's willing to work on it and they're just growing and they don't quite, and that's the frustration you're experiencing, that's one thing. But if they just aren't going to do part of it, I move on. Next.
I think I may have told you the story before. I had a guy who claimed to be a Buddhist ask me to sponsor him. And there was a time in my life when I was very stubborn about that. It was like, well, if you're not willing to believe in the God of the Bible, I'm not going to sponsor you. And my sponsor said, pump the brakes, man. You may be missing an opportunity here. He kind of corrected my direction there and my thinking. And so this gentleman that asked me to sponsor him, I said, okay. So when we got to step 3, I said, I expect you to learn everything you possibly can about this higher power you call Buddhism. And I mean, if this is the best thing since sliced bread, I expect you to know everything you can about it and study it and really dig in, because you're turning your will and your life over to it. So you better get to know it. Well, he came back after a couple of weeks and he said, I'm finding Buddhism lacking. Can you tell me more about your God? See, and if I had just cut him loose and just said, no, I'm not going to work with you, I would have lost that opportunity.
Yeah, that's wise.
Yeah. All right. Well, good deal. All right. If you've got email or questions and you'd like to send them our way, Monty at CameToBelieveRecovery.org is the mail. We'll close up the mailbag and get to the topic here.
A little piece of you just waiting to clutch. You got mail.
All right. The topic this week is letting people be people. We kind of tongue in cheek use the term people are people-y. Alicia would say that often. But letting people be people. So one of the greatest sources of frustration, resentment, and conflict is expecting people to be something they are not. Right? There's that place in the big book that's talking about acceptance. And then there's a place that talks about, all the world's a stage, Shakespeare said. And, if everybody would just play their role properly, all would be well. We think we're the director. The problem, Tom, is that everybody else in the play thinks they're the director.
Yeah, well, they're all wrong, but right.
Now we have a train wreck.
Now we have a train wreck.
So what about this? I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. Aren't there certain behaviors that are just absolutely unacceptable, and we cannot let people be people when it comes to them? Do we put up with everything?
Well, no, absolutely not. That's part of what as we're growing and living in the go, especially if you've done a program like we have, is we are not doormats anymore, and we do not have to stand for disrespect or illegal activity or abuse at any level. So that's where the line would be drawn. When people are abusive or disrespectful, we certainly have a responsibility, I think, to stand up to that. And as we're growing in our recovery, we're going to have tools for that. And we're going to have better strategies for dealing with those people in our lives. And what we do find, though, Monty, and I think I could, I would ask you if you find this in your life. As we're living in the go and we begin to grow, we do tend to run into those kind of people less and less. Because we just don't draw them into our lives, abusive people and disrespectful people. We aren't in those worlds. So you might deal with that at the beginning of recovery because you're still creating new social circles and things. And, that old idea that we can still be friends with all the same people. Some people think that, Monty, that they hope. And they find out quickly that they weren't their friends all of a sudden when they don't have money to lend them or want to go do drugs with them. But yes, of course, there's a limit.
I think what happens, too, is we start seeing people through a different lens.
Well, for sure.
And so we see past some of their foibles, if you will. And see the person for who they really are or who they could very well become, instead of being so judgmental. But we do make, we do have to make judgment calls. That doesn't mean that we judge a person with a mallet of condemnation, but we have to make judgment calls all the time. People say, well, judge not, lest you be judged. And that's the only scripture verse they know.
Right.
But people throw that around a lot. But we have to. We've got to make judgment calls for our well-being, for our health, and for the well-being of the other person a lot of times. But in our discussion points, number one says people are imperfect. They just are. People are people-y. They just are. And it always humors me when I meet somebody, and I know somebody who I'm very close to, who always says, I just don't like people. I'm like, but you're a people.
Yeah.
Do you like me? Yeah, I like you. Well, I'm a person. Mm-hmm. But what do you think about that? I mean, are there people that just don't like people? I mean, what's up with that?
I know. I think there are people it speaks to some brokenness on the inside of them in their inability to want to be able to interact with others. That it's a control thing too, for sure. I think that they can't control them. They don't know them. They have self-esteem issues. They have fear is leading them. There's a lot going on. If somebody said that, I'd want to ask lots of questions. What do you mean? Are you just kidding around? When I say I don't like people, I mean I don't like crowds. I don't like to be in places where I would tell you where I'm not in control of things, where there's so many people. We were at the Yankee game last week. Love being at the Yankee games, but I don't really like being in crowds like that. It's not comfortable. Bunch of different personalities and activities and people, and you're kind of forced to conform to certain things that you may or might, not exactly how I would do it, and you have to sit through some stuff.
Yeah.
But that's different. I mean, I don't, you love them as people, but that's where this imperfection comes. This is where patience and tolerance is. Our code comes from, I think, in our program, right?
Yeah.
It says the people around us, we are going to need patience and tolerance as we grow, and watch people with flaws, weaknesses, blind spots, and struggles, as our notes say, making mistakes without a program, without a God, without a way out, without a system, and they're just floundering, and they're like all around us.
Yeah.
And you're like, why don't it's so obvious, blah, blah. Do we just cut all of them out of our lives? We'd cut everybody out except for like you and me. Right. So it's really important, I think, this conversation, while it seems kind of, not very specific. When we get into recovery, especially the recovery that is found, we go back into society where most people are not in this kind of recovery, or most people do not embrace the principles of life or the rule of life that we have. Mm-hmm. And so you're right away maybe feeling a little bit separate and right? Does that make sense?
Yes. I heard a Sunday we had a guest speaking at our church, and he said something, and I thought about you. He said, I want to talk about saints who struggle, but I'm not going to talk about the struggling saint. He goes, so where's our launching pad? We are saints who struggle. We're not struggling saints.
Right.
We're saints first. This is our position. And what a glorious position it is, not because of what we've done, but what God's done. And when you look at it from that perspective, right, then the challenges that I face on a daily basis, or even the word struggle, because I know you don't like that word, but we approach it totally differently. So if we can approach people and see them through the eyes of the Lord, these are people that he loves, even the ones that don't recognize him yet. He loves them. He cares about them. And if we can see them as people that God loves and is concerned about, who struggle in life, who are lost, who are floundering, as like you were saying, instead of floundering people,
Right. Hey,
right? Then I think that's helpful.
I think too, the same grace we want from others should be extended. I think we as addicts have a unique tool in our belts because we've done so much in many cases. And that, boy, if we were held accountable for everything we ever did, right, it would be a bad day. And didn't we want forgiveness? Didn't we want a second chance? Didn't we want to not be locked out of everything just because of some mistake that we made? So we tend, I think, to be more gracious towards others than many people. I'm more apt to say, well, yeah, that wasn't okay, but was it them and what'd they do about it? Are they sorry about it? Are they turning their corner? Have they done it since? I mean, let's give them a break. Are you okay? Like, who's casting the first stone kind of thing. And I think we have an extraordinary ability to do that in a way of looking. I mean, how many do you hear people crucify other people about something they've done and they're the worst person in the world and they're coming from a perspective that isn't what we come from.
That's right.
I'm like, really? I mean, but last week you did this. And isn't that kind of the same thing? Like, wouldn't you expect that you wanted forgiveness?
People that are forgiven, have been forgiven much, forgive much.
Yeah, right. And then expectations here, very much source of disappointment when we think or expect people to do or act a certain way. There's freedom. I mean, I think the line of abuse and respect. Yes, those are expectations we should have. I do expect you to respect me and not to abuse me. And I will take action if that is the case. But beyond that, I got to hold it loosely, Monty, what I expect of other people.
Yeah.
There's accountability when it's work and there's different things. But expectations are, what do they call them? Premeditated resentments?
Sure. And I heard somebody say this and I thought, well, that's something to really think about. He said, it was in a meeting recently. He said, I don't think that expectations are wrong. It's how do we handle them when the other person doesn't fulfill them? That's right or wrong. Mm-hmm. But to expect somebody to be on time, if you're their employer and you expect them to be there on time to work, that's fine. Does it ruin your day if they don't show up? Okay, now that's on you. But to expect them to be on time is perfectly fine. And so I think sometimes we throw the baby out with the bathwater. Oh, you can't ever have any expectations. Yeah, I don't know. But I'll tell you, my wife is quick. When I get impatient in traffic or whatever, she's like, are we having an expectation?
Right.
I'm like, Rrr.
Yeah, just what you want to hear.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think as we move down, all of this has helped when we do focus on our own self, on ourselves, our own actions and attitudes. I totally do this today, which is, well, as soon as I see like something in a situation or something, I quickly am like, do I do things like that? And would I do something like that? And have I ever done something like that? Or what can I do to never do that? Mm-hmm. Like, that's my thought process. And wow, that looks silly. When I see the guy stomping his feet at Starbucks, I tell these stories at retreats that people listening may or may not have heard. That is the stupid, fit, raging person that I can be. And how foolish does it look when you watch someone else doing it? They look babyish, right? So that touches me. These are these things, people being people. So what my motivation is different now, Monty, than it would be before, which would be either righteous indignation, let's get on board with this guy, he's right, let's burn down the Starbucks, to what a jerk, boy, he's a baby, to, hey, he needs love. Hey, maybe we can go sunshine in his day. And these tools to even think this whole thing through when I'm out in public, when all these situations are not a thought process I ever had before I came into recovery and before I knew where my peace and joy came from. And when people are being people, what do we do about it? Is something that I work on. And I'm not perfect at it by any means, but it's something I'm intentional about, Monty. I'm intentional about, letting people be people, but then is there any way that I can help the people be less people-y? I don't know.
Yeah. So my daddy used to always say, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Yeah,
automatically.
okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. So whatever's about to come out of your mouth, if it isn't going to be helpful, if it's not going to be part of the solution, just zip it.
And I love this part at the end on our other point that says people often carry burdens, fears, wounds, struggles that are invisible. We don't know what that person is going through or has been through today.
It might be horrific.
Right. What struggle is that person going through that we don't know about that's behind this? And would we have greater compassion if we knew? So maybe the guy's walking into Starbucks, his mother just died. His wife got cancer.
Mm-hmm.
The dog died. Lost his job. Right? How do we know what put him in that? And all we want to do is judge how cranky this person is.
Wouldn't it be something to and I've had this happen to me. I've been like in the drive-through at a one of those horrible fast food processed food places. And I've been in the drive-through and I pulled up to pay and they said, "Oh, the car in front of you paid for it for you." Ever had that happen?
I have not had that happen.
It's a trip. I've had it happen a couple of times.
I may have done it for somebody.
Yeah. But what would happen? Let's do the Starbucks analogy.
Okay.
You're in Starbucks, and the person in front of you, it's obvious that they are just not having a good day. And you just stepped up and said, "Hey, listen, buddy, I got it. I got your coffee. Just pay for it."
Well, that is like me to do. That would be.
Yes, it is like you to do. That is something that Tom would do.
Yeah.
I mean, how could that change the direction of their day? It may not do anything. It may totally change their entire perspective on their day. What if you're in a grocery store and you saw somebody struggling with maybe they're a single mom and they're just struggling with the two kids and you said, "You know what? I'd like to pay for your groceries today." If you were, can you imagine if people would just take a moment and maybe go just a little further than opening the door for the person? Go just a little further. It could change your perspective on people by doing that.
I love that. I look for opportunities to do that, actually. I mean, sometimes I watch in grocery store and I see somebody like struggling with a check or it's something, the credit card doesn't go through and you're watching them working. I'm right ready to say, "I got it." And then it works or something.
Yeah.
The other
because
thing,
they're feeling pressure because they know people are in line and they're fumbling around and I've been there.
People that are broke and they can't. I don't know. Judge. My point would be, I'm going to buy you food and bless you. I don't know what happened with your money or why.
Right.
And I don't care. I'm not going to ask you questions. Why? You got to manage your money better, and then you'll da 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 da. Well, Jesus never did that. He would pay them and then say, like he did to the woman who was getting stoned.
Right.
Sin no more. Is anybody judging you? Neither am I. But don't do that anymore. And I'm going to cover this for you, but go fix it. Fix whatever this is a blessing. Well, Monty, that can work too with just spreading sunshine, speaking a word of uplift, to uplift this person in line and trying to distract them from the anger or the frustration that they're in. And that can work sometimes if you just start a friendly conversation. And you might find out something because some people are just dying to tell somebody something that their day's going.
Yeah.
And then you're able to maybe offer some encouraging words. Say, well, that's, I've often, it's tough, boy. I wish my whole day. And they realize they're not the only one with things.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they realize, wow, that was a silly thing. Often I'll do that with, and somebody actually challenged me the other day about this, and I took it to heart, that I'm often really good at sowing wonder, sunshine in people that work places.
Yes, you do.
But not as much with the people all around me sometimes. And I'm like, I don't know if that's totally true. But a couple of examples where why in this case, are you not like that? But then when we're at Starbucks, you're making it a point. I'm like, why am I like that?
Is it easier to be kind and friendly and lend a hand to a stranger than it is to people that you know and work with?
It may be part of it. And this is wrong too. My justification was I don't know. I just didn't have the energy for it. Sometimes, and that's just the truth. Why, when we were out such a place and we were with all these people, were you not this proactive in your conversation as you were just today at Starbucks with all these people?
Oh, wow.
You're right. I should have been. But when I think back, I was tired. I really didn't want to be there. I was just looking to go home. And I really wasn't, if you're honest, I didn't want to talk to those people. I just didn't want any conversations. Not because they don't care. I just, and I don't know if that's okay or not. I needed someone to blow sunshine to me those days. But I will often spark up a conversation with somebody when you can clearly see them doing a job that they're just doing a job. And I'll tell you, I passed a great opportunity today. I had just because we're talking about people being people, they got to let us be us too, right? Because we're the people, like you said.
We're people, yeah.
I went in to have some preoperative testing before my surgery on Monday, which I would love for prayers and just an agreement that this will go perfectly. This cervical spine surgery I'm having on Monday, quite extensive. So I go in, and they were late. The place, so doesn't that work for me just really well when you have an appointment and they're late, and you're like the first appointment. How can they be late? Tom's late. How can this be? Imagine if you came later. You're already 20 minutes behind, and I'm like the first appointment. How could I? So I'm a little annoyed. I haven't had coffee because you can't drink anything or eat anything before these tests. So I haven't had coffee, all of this. And I go in, the nurse came out, or tech came out. Hi, my name is so-and-so, very friendly young lady, and took me in to this room to start all this testing. And we were 5 or 10, it was a big thing, EKG and blood and it and that. It was a whole bunch of tests. So I was in for 10 or 15 minutes. The first 5, 7, 8 minutes, I didn't say a word. Didn't make small talk, nothing. And that's not normal for me, Monty. To not just make some friendly conversation with somebody and learn a little bit about them and share some just happiness and just talk about, hey, how do you like your job and what's going on today? Just to kind of brighten their day, you hope. Take the signal.
Yeah.
And that was a little selfish. I was just feeling sorry for myself. And so I didn't do it. So there's one of those circumstances. So we're not perfect. And we're not going to do the perfect thing every time. And neither is everyone else.
No. And we need to let that pass. We need to give people a pass on that. So one of the things that you ask, and I've seen you do this on several occasions, whether it's the grocery store or Starbucks, you will ask that question. Hey, how do you like working here? And the first time I heard you say that, I thought to myself, if I was that other person, I'd be going, why? You got something better? Because I'm looking.
Right.
Are you hiring, Tom?
Right.
But what that does is that isn't just a good morning. That's a question. It engages the person. And it's like they're blown away sometimes because for the last couple of weeks, they don't really think anybody gives a rip.
No. Well, nobody does
know,
give a rip. That's
and
the point,
and they
probably.
don't.
Right.
But you're asking a question, and it is obvious that you would like an answer. It's not just something where you're just saying, "Hey, good morning, how you doing?"
What do you call that?
It's in the way you say it. It's inviting. It's inviting. It's like I'm being invited to talk to this person. Now, I will say, sometimes when it comes to baristas, especially at the drive-thru, I really don't want to engage them to the degree they want to engage me.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what are you doing today? Do you have any plans? And I want to say, yeah, as soon as I leave here, I'm going to go see my PO. I'm going to blow him away, and I'm going to go rob a bank. I want to tell them something to shake them up. And all they're trying to do, because they've been coached, this is how you treat people. You're welcoming to them. You talk to them. You want to engage with them. People appreciate that. But you know what? Sometimes people don't. And sometimes I'm that person. I just give me my coffee and let me be on my way.
I know. Well, that's how I am sometimes too. And yep.
I'm Mr. Grumpy Pants, because I haven't had my coffee yet.
Oh, that was not a good day today. Then they tell me later, well, you could have had coffee. It's clear liquid for this. That wouldn't have been a problem for these.
Oh, no.
It's clear
what?
liquid.
I could have?
Yeah. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, you need coffee for these tests. They're not testing your caffeine level,
Right.
It can mess with your heart rate or blood pressure, maybe. But my blood pressure's.
It can actually cause your sugar intake reading to go up.
Yeah.
Even though you're not putting any sugar in it. My doctor said before you come in and get your blood tests that I do every so many months, don't drink any caffeine because it'll spike your sugar thing. Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up. So people are not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Our expectations can cause us to have resentments. We certainly can't control other people. I mean, we'd like to.
Right.
And everybody is going through something that we don't know what they're going through. The next time that somebody cuts you off in traffic, maybe think about that they're not thinking, and there's a reason for it. Maybe it's not because they're a moron. Maybe it's because they're having a moment, just like you and I do. Closing thoughts, Tom.
Well, and I'll dovetail on that. We talk at retreats and we actually highlight the fact that every person is completely unique, individual, and one of a kind. And so they come with completely unique, individual, one of a kind identities and personalities. And that in itself would lend to potentially some conflict, or at least some diversity, if you want to use that word for it, that everybody is going to be different, and everybody's going to have slightly a different opinion, and everybody's going to deal with things slightly differently. And that patience and tolerance and the ability to celebrate those differences and live with everyone else, understanding that they're a different person, they're thinking it. There's a line of appropriate behavior and civil obedience that we all must abide to, but beyond that, people are allowed to be who they want to be, and we ought to look at it as a good thing. Let's let people be who they want to be and enjoy each other's company.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Right on. Good word. All right. Listen, don't forget, if you'd like to come to the retreat, go to CameToBelieveRecovery.org, click on upcoming events to register for the Came to Believe Recovery Retreat in Malibu in later on this month. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, we ask that you hit the like button, share, and subscribe. All right, our closing song, kind of reflecting on last week, Tom Williams' favorite Christian song. This song is called No Longer Slaves.
Oh.
It's written by Jonathan Nelson, Joel Case, and Brian Johnson. Here's No Longer Slaves as we close out this episode of the Came to Believe Recovery Podcast.
You unravel me
One of the greatest lessons we can learn in recovery and in life is to let people be people. No matter who they are, what they believe, or how they act, we do not have to be controlled by their behavior or trapped by fear of their opinions. When we place our trust in God, we are freed from the need to judge, control, or change everyone around us. Instead, God helps us see others through eyes of compassion, understanding, and love. People will always make mistakes, just as we do. But God's grace teaches us to extend patience and kindness while maintaining healthy boundaries. As we grow spiritually, we learn that loving others does not require approving of everything they do. It simply means treating them with the same mercy and respect that God has shown you and I. And that is something to think about.
Came to Believe Recovery strives to create and promote opportunities for life-changing spiritual experiences for individuals and families suffering from all forms of addiction. For more information, help, and support, visit cametobelieverecovery.org. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to be your host on this episode of the Came to Believe Recovery podcast. And I would encourage you to like, bookmark, and subscribe to this show. When you do, you will join the Take 12 Recovery Radio family and will be notified of all of our recovery-focused shows throughout the week. Until our next broadcast, when we provide the essential spiritual tools needed to thrive by sharing our experience, our strength, and our hope through our stories of how we came to believe.
This has been a production of Take 12 Recovery Radio.
Yeah, kitty, kitty, kitty. Meow.
Woof, woof.
This has been a Chicken and a Pig production.